Thank you very much, and welcome for the final game of the Overwatch World Cup group stage for today. There's 2 more days to go, don't worry, guys.
Plenty more action to come.
Plenty of more action. Myself and Mitch are going to take this one away. So, Sweden coming in, the big favourites before the tournament. Of course, now South Korea looking pretty dominant, but they have a big tag to live up to.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, there's no doubting the star power of this team and the experience that the roster has. It's about whether the star team can sort of gel where it really counts. Now, I'll be honest with you, Lee, I don't necessarily feel that Brazil maybe have what it takes to really test them and to really expose that particular weakness. But I mean, like Reinforce pointed out, this team has some pretty strong players on it. Solive takes this so seriously. I know Edu likes to have a little bit of a dance on camera, but Solive is, like, he even came to me and he said, I'm worried that some of my teammates aren't taking this seriously enough. So he is very much gunning for a good showing here. And hey, if there's any team that could sort of surprise Sweden, it's one like Brazil, who people aren't expecting that much of.
Yeah, this is a guy that's had a chance, Solive, by the way, a chance to try out in a number of the top teams. However, he's doing his master's degree, so he's just like, I need to commit to my master's degree.
He already was in the industry for a while.
So he's a very fully educated man. I believe it was it Kaio's the other guy? There was two engineers in there. Yeah, Flaws.
Oh no, Flaws. Sorry, just handed in his thesis in constitutional law before getting on the plane to come here. So talk about juggling priorities, Lee. Let's see if he can do it in game.
Far cleverer than I am, that's for sure. But we are seeing something interesting. I don't think we're going to see Torbjorn staying there. I'm pretty sure Solo's going to have fun with that one. Meanwhile, there we go. The switch out comes. So let's have a look at Sweden. There, the man's on defense. It is going to be a, I would say, fairly standard defensive setup this time around. We're not seeing the triple tank, which is good. This is good, I think. Bearing in mind it's Sweden. Obviously, a lot of influence from the NIP households, but thankfully, we're not going to have that this time around.
No, and we shouldn't in the future, purely because IDDQD and Tvik, you probably won't see them playing tanks. Maybe just Tvik, but we'll see now. We're going to be kicking off here. Zebasai already gets himself a bit of free energy to start off with, and Sweden now will just try and gain some early information on Brazil before deciding how to strike at the heart.
Let's see how IDDQD does on that Mei as well. Something I need to keep my eye on at the moment. But next stage going to be coming around. Solive with the Hanzo gets a little peek, gets a little glimpse around the side, tries to chip down Coco's shield. Is it going to be enough though? Tvik goes aggressive, gets himself caught with an arrow, gets quickly healed back up, but next stage goes down. That will stop the attack. They're going to try and push through, but it is going to backfire on Brazil.
It's difficult here for Solive to make an impact in the fight. You can see he backed away, and in that small space of time, Brazil had already lost 2 players. It seems as if maybe of 2 minds, if they were going to engage, that maybe Solive wanted to be front and center, ready to deliver arrow after arrow. But Sweden fairly comfortably bending with that attack and snapping back like a sapling in the breeze. And they're going to solidify here.
So, Zebasai taking some damage, but that's about all it's going to be. And we've seen a lot of adjustments throughout this map. I'll get back to that because it looks like they're just going to rush straight through that middle. I'm not sure it's going to work out. Quick Sleep Dart came in, but Solo's got himself his Dragon Strike ready and waiting to go. He's not going to pull the trigger just yet. Waiting for something to set it up. IDDQD does manage to take down Kaio, the Reinhardt, around the side. Solo continues to pick himself up, kill after kill. Zebasai gets him shield back up and gets taken down by next stage. And suddenly it's looking good for Brazil on the push.
There's always a feeling of inexorability sometimes when the attacking team has a Hanzo. It's a matter of time, but Coco's going to come in and try and slow this one down. He gets a nano boost, need charging forward, Vita Grenade used, but to no avail. Coco still gets himself 2 kills, and Chips Hyen, who may be a support player, but he's a very scary one at that, will find Edu and clean up Brazil and push them back. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remain.
I guess they're just waiting for Flaws to get that Graviton surge built up, ready and waiting to go so Solo can pull the trigger. You need a setup time. Obviously, these are pro players. They're going to dodge out the way of a Dragon Strike that just comes straight their way. So something needs to set it up, and we're waiting for that charge to be built by Flaws.
Solive currently has 45% of Brazil's total damage.
Blimey.
That is so much to one player. We need to see more from players like Next Stage and Flaws to get in the backline and actually complete these kills. It's not enough to rely on a Hanzo plinking arrow after arrow, even though I got them close.
He's getting them close. Flaws going in, trying to get that Graviton surge built up 90%, but it doesn't matter because the counter comes in. Next stage gets Coco down, but the rest of his team are falling. And Tvik comes flying through. IDDQD picks himself up 1. Tvik didn't even need to use the Death Blossom there. Just simple left clicking was enough.
And Tvik's chin looking in fine form as much as his damage dealing as well at this stage. And look, this is the thing. Sweden aren't feeling pressured enough to actually have to dig deep in their pocket and let the full suite of ultimates go. Solive is doing a lot of good damage, but you're supposed to get yourself a 5v 6v5 scenario, and then your teammates should be able to sort of close the gap and actually exacerbate that advantage. Sweden are playing from behind sometimes when they're losing a play at a Hanzo. It's a 5v6 and they're still winning.
It's something that shouldn't really be working, but look at the stack now. Brazil, they're going to have 4 big ultis. Graviton Surge needs to be hit in the right place. That wasn't very good. It's going to get him with the Dragon Strike. I'm not too sure it's going to quite be enough. It isn't. Solov only gets himself the 1, but it's Coco. Is that going to be crucial enough? I don't believe so, because look at Sweden. They just put down the big ice wall and say, hey, Brazil, you know, you're used to those hot temperatures in your country. How do you like the ice?
I love this. Coco is second for damage done on Sweden. He's doing more damage than IDDQD and Zebasai. Of course, a big part of that is the fact that Chips is sending him forward with a pat on the shoulder and a nano boost into the bloodstream, as it were, but it's working beautifully for Sweden. Everyone chipping in now. They've got a Blizzard. This could just stop Brazil in their tracks. There's 10 seconds remaining. Yeah,
just 10 seconds to push that payload and get it to his first marker. The wall is ready. IDDQD is ready to strike. You can see he's hopping, he's skipping, he's waving. He wants to throw it out. And there goes the Blizzard. There goes the wall. The team gets separated. And there goes the game for Brazil.
Yeah, IDDQD getting himself 2 kills there. The Ice Spikes are finding their marks, and that is going to be a tough way for Brazil to be going out. Coco again making sure he features heavily on the scoreboard. Overtime will expire, and Sweden completely unruffled by Brazil as they hold at the first choke point of the map.
It's a tough old mistress, is Dorado, and it is a very hard first point to push through. And Sweden looking all the more confident and basking, I feel, in one of their favorite tags. We heard from IDDQD earlier on, and, you know, talking about how happy he is. Looking at Zave, actually, he looks a lot better now, obviously having a problem earlier on. And, you know, Sweden have come into this one so confident. They've been going around the whole event so confident, full of swagger. And obviously for them to pick a win up here over Brazil would be a great start for them. It's looking like they're most likely going to take the first map, because that wasn't a deep marker for them to reach.
Not at all. I mean, they can get that in a very short period of time. This actually means that Brazil, because of how done, I guess, close that point is, will probably have to defend as far forward as possible. That will give them maybe enough time to respawn back in if they do lose a fight. But it's tough, it's so challenging, and your margin of error is so low when you're challenging the attacking team right in front of their spawn. So really, if your team dies in standard defensive spots here once for Brazil, you're done. You can't reinforce in time. So they don't have the choice. They don't have the option to play passively or take passive positions, because if they get shelled out, they only get one chance.
I think that's why we're seeing this very aggressive position up on the high wall. See if they can maybe push on round to try and pick something off early. But if they do get picked off, if anyone gets hooked down, maybe they're in trouble. But I'm looking across towards Sweden. Doesn't look like they're going to go with the Hog. You can see Solov is on the Hog. Tavik deciding to run on the Hanzo this time. Obviously, we saw it on the attack for Brazil. Let's see how his arrows fly.
IDDQD going to be picking up the McCree here as well. Now, normally, like we've sort of said, IDDQD likes to take a back seat in terms of his positioning and pick people off from afar. He's a big left-click aficionado, and I love him for it. But here, he might just want to get up in people's faces, throw flashes, and go for the fan to happen.
Well, gets himself a quick look at the vision. They see where the Hog is. They know exactly where it's coming. Gets the quick ricochet there to Vik, and you can see that ult percentage starting to build up slowly but surely. He looks across. He knows his range as well, and Solai forced to back away. Now remember, the golden marker is just around the corner here. There's the ricochet arrow, and Solai goes down. That may well be all she wrote.
That's the worst person to lose in this fight. Brazil have no real kill potential now, lacking that one. Hopefully next stage can do something about this, but now we can see Sweden start to apply further pressure on towards this fight. Next stage finds Zebasai, but not before Keon goes down. Tvik gonna let the Dragon Strike go, and it's gonna be Flaws that's caught in the jaws. Nothing to do but just to take it. Tvik follows up with 2 more kills. It's the arrow that finds his sanity. Easy enough, and this payload is well and truly on the move. That's it. Sweden hardly break a sweat, and Tvik gets himself 3 kills. You blink and you miss it, Lee.
Blink and you miss it. Very strong performance from Sweden to start with. I don't think we expected anything less. We've been hearing problems in the Brazilian camp throughout the practice sessions. Hasn't really been gelling quite well. I think we saw some certainly highlights. Sollive, as you mentioned, what, 45% of the damage at one point on their hands, so plinking away. Of course,
his whole team, which is nuts.
Of course, I mean, it is easy to say that when he's getting free shots effectively from the balcony there, just popping in and out. So yes, he is getting obviously the big damage numbers, whereas everybody else is trying to push through. But still, that is still a big percentage. 45% of 6-man team. is pretty high.
And half the reason why you pick the Hanzo off is because he doesn't just feed healers ultimate percent, he doesn't just do chip damage, he completes kills, he secures kills with sometimes one arrow. The problem is, even then, those few moments that Brazil had a man advantage, they weren't actually able to capitalize on that at all, and Sweden said, well, okay, we're waiting for you to come and fight us. They never really did. So Brazil, its execution, their communication also, in my opinion, is lacking. Solive had an opportunity to be in that fight, but he was too busy around the corner. I'm not sure what he was doing, but the rest of his team went in without him.
Yeah, definite difference in the body language as well and the composure of the players. Fairly sullen faces on Brazil. Big smiles and grins across the face of Sweden, as you would expect after a pretty solid victory. Temple of Anubis, though, is the next map, Mitch. We've seen a number of tricky situations for this one. Finland certainly struggled to close out the map against, I believe, it's Chinese Taipei earlier on.
They did.
It is a tough old nut to crack. If you don't get the flip twice, quick in there, on the A and the B side, if you don't push through straight away, it can be very tricky. Here it is on your screen, of course. There is the first section you get through, capture out that point and push on through into the temple.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the idea, of course, about not letting the enemy team, the defensive team, stabilize and get rolling, because if they can build an ult advantage, the defensively biased nature of this last point allows defensive teams to win fights while maintaining good economy of ultimates, i.e. you only need maybe 1 or 2 ultimates to win a fight in that area because the terrain favors you, whereas the attacking team might need to use them all, or more than that at least. If you can get in a position where you're using those ultimates efficiently as a defensive team, you can weather many, many ways of attackers and generally just sit back comfortably. And you can also force some mistakes from the attackers who are going to get more and more desperate as the round goes on.
Well, here's the spawns, and we're seeing Tavik on the Junkrat. It is a very viable hero on this map, something we've seen before, but not so far throughout the day, actually. I don't recall seeing the Junkrat on Anubis as of yet. We have, however, seen some Widowmaker play earlier on. We're seeing Solive on it right now. We'll see whether he sticks to it, of course. He is in the attacking side, so he can make some switches, of course. 17 eliminations, 1 death. Is that in from that last map? It must be.
Yeah,
well, obviously he was on the Hanzo at the end on the attack, but obviously on the defensive side he wasn't.
Yeah, no, so very good game for Tavik on the Hanzo now as well. And look, if we do see this Widow come out from Brazil, which is entirely possible, Tavik has to be a little bit more careful. Widowmaker and Farah give a Junkrat a lot of problems because he can't really damage them. The only way he interacts with them is normally taking damage from them. So Tavik needs to keep his head down if we do see Solive go up. But again, you've got IDDQD, who, to be fair, has the ability to challenge out a Widow. Get 2-3 headshots at that kind of range and you will be able to kill her. A bit risky, but he'll do it.
Let's see how it works out here, ladies and gentlemen. Sweden take the standard position. Sitting off on the side there, I just saw Solive go up, but immediately you see his hit points go down. That means he managed to get tagged out by IDDQD the second
or
he
Chips.
hit the hedge. Yeah, or Coco even with a fire strike, who knows. Anything could have hit him, but there he is, and immediately gets tagged up.
So,
so did IDDQD.
Yeah, confidence from IDDQD going for that next shot. He can manage Solive. The fact Solive actually dropped to Tavik there as well. I'm unsure if Solive dropped on towards a remote mine or something similar. Still, Chips as well, going to be able to get himself another kill. That's going to be Keo going down, and IDDQD, man to be watching here as well, was very much involved in the fight on Dorado. His main was actually quite good, where many would maybe not consider that to be a mainstay for him. He did have to play a lot of it for Fnatic as we started to see the Reaper main meta become stronger, and Buds being that dedicated Reaper player for the team.
IDDQD's got himself his Deadeye available, as does Chips with the Nano boost. Tavik also got himself that Riptide. We'll see whether he lets that loose in a moment, but it doesn't look like they need to. They're going to keep the mines tossed out there, looking to get Solive there, actually. Did you notice the mine getting tossed to the high position? Solive does take himself a bit of a hit, but that's building up Insanity, so he's now has his Nano boost ready to go.
But you see Tavik's respecting that little bridge at the top of the doorway. He knows if Solive gets up there, he could be in trouble, but IDDQD takes him down. The McCree on towards the Widowmaker there. Range is not too clearly for the Gunslinger, and now the fight continues as it's going to be Sweden pushing back. Kyo falls, so does BRK. IDDQD gets himself 3 kills over that fight, completely dominating Brazil.
He must have caught them on the left side. I didn't see whether he caught them on the exits. I feel that must have been where it was then. But either way, Sweden's starting to build up a pretty heavy ult percentage across the board. I haven't needed to use it yet. That Riptide is just going to get stored up, I feel. Genji switch coming in here for Solive, deciding the Widowmaker not working out so well.
Yeah, I mean, again, is it too late already? 2 minutes now. Solive thought about the Reaper here now, the Genji, so he definitely wants to get that Dragon Blade going fairly soon. Insanities has held onto that nano boost. He actually had it a little bit earlier on in the fight as he was able to farm up a little bit of healing, but who's going to receive that one? Kyo can't access the high ground on Reinhardt. There's no point giving him a nano boost because he's going to be unable to access the enemy team, Sweden, who is standing up there. So I'd probably say he's going to save it for Solive, but Solive needs to be throwing shurikens real quick to get that ready. But now it's going to be the Graviton Surge. He's a neutral Graviton. There's a lot of sound barriers coming out here as well. Solive gets himself 2 kills, and it looks like Brazil actually winning out in this fight. Nicely done, Solive, with 4 from that fight. Incredibly chaotic, blink and you missed kind of stuff here. But Brazil, as the smoke clears, come out on top, and they didn't even use a sound barrier there.
Perfect position for a Dragon Blade when everybody is stacked in one position. You just need to stand still and swing your left click and chop away.
So your birthday cake.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 minutes on the clock now for Brazil to push through. Gifted an opportunity, you may say, from Sweden there to take that first point. Now, let's see what they can do on the second.
I mean, Sweden want to make use of the Junkrat, so they have to sort of push and try and fight mostly around those more enclosed areas. But Junkrat, a little bit fragile, got caught up in the mix. Now moving forward, we've seen Tvik actually switch over towards the Mei here. I mean, the amount of control that she gives you on this last point is unparalleled. It's a wide open area. It's very hard to avoid the Blizzard if you're going to be standing in it when it's thrown. You see, Floors checks up. Often there's a Reaper up on top of that platform there. Very hard to see, but Floors is one of the best people on Brazil to deal with it. IDDQD, though, is not ready to go in with the Death Blossom and Nano Boost combo, so he's going to sit back for now until that's ready, and then he'll probably go back up there himself.
Chip's trying to keep himself also out of the action. You can see him just up the side there. Solive forced him off the position. Tvik goes in, and here goes Sweden. They go aggressive on the defense. They get pulled in by Graviton Surge, but it's not enough to slow them down. Coco goes through the charge, pushing him through the Surge, and immediately manages to pick off the rest of the team. You're just losing time there, Edo. Might as well die with the rest of your team.
Yeah, and one thing that Eddie was talking to us about that he was trying to learn for Brazil, actually a very similar situation to Muselk on the Australian roster, is that I'm coming on and playing Lucio, not necessarily my main, but I picked that one up knowing that that's the best way to maybe limit liability is the way they put it there. And learning timings, when that sound barrier needs to happen, when the speed boost needs to happen, as I think that's the most important ability in the game. So you need to know and respect how to use that properly.
Well, Tvik sitting here, you can see him on your screen with Blizzard ready to go. So the second the wall fails, the second the shields fail, the Blizzard is a great fallback option. Just took a big hit there, though. Didn't see what it was that hit him. Maybe some of the shurikens flicking by, or maybe even an icicle right click from next stage. We can see he's ready with the wall, trying to split them off. Meanwhile, up the top there, you can see IDDQD just flanking around with the Reaper. Nobody dealing with him, really.
Here it is. Gonna be Sleep Dark going towards Solive. He wants to go with the Dragon Blade there. He's gonna get Frozen Solid straight away, and of course, about a Grenade Lee. There's no healing available, and even if it was, he wouldn't benefit from it.
And IDDQD just drops down and says, hi, with the Death Blossom. And that will be the end of Brazil's attack once again. It was set up so much, and this is what I was saying. Obviously, with Solive focusing on trying to get that little flanking maneuver, and sure, it might work against lesser teams. They were completely ready for it. They didn't need to pull the whole team to deal with it, and it gave IDDQD plenty of time. He was standing on that ledge. Nobody was dealing with him. He was just standing on that ledge, plinking away, left clicking.
Solive just got picked off there by Coco. I'm pretty sure that was a fire strike thrown out by him as well. Now you're getting a little bit upset if you're Genji and you're falling into that kind of stuff. There's no better way to put a Genji in the dumpster than a Sleep Dart. Of course, we saw that from Chips before. So Brazil, I'd say frustration would be something they need to be aware of now, or at least combating it, because it has to be creeping in by this point, Lee.
Well, Coco, I think you just saw the little icon there. They're waving. They're waving through the doorway right now, Sweden. Waving and saying, come on in. 2 minutes to go. Will they pull the trigger? You can see IDDQD. He's getting a lot of free reign up here. Solive forced to back away once again, getting them shots off. They've not really got anybody to deal with him. There is no McCrees. There's no one just jumping on him. Cuts down. Oh, that's a completely separated Reinhardt, but that may well work out. No, it gets blocked off. The Blizzard catches everybody in, and Brazil suddenly pile on through. It's a brilliant combo coming out from Brazil, and Sweden fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
A moment of confidence there, perhaps overconfidence from Sweden. They were waving at Brazil, now they might be waving goodbye to this point, as Brazil standing tall, in fact, upon it. They managed to get the wombo down. They managed to get a bunch of Sweden caught up in those ults, and now it's desperation for Sweden. Great Blizzard coming out here from Tvik. This might be just what they need. Chips coming in on the Tracer. They're already in stall mode, but that one ult. Blizzard is so strong at controlling points and stalling out takes. Sweden can breathe a sigh of relief because they've been given a stay of execution. But they'll do well to remember to respect what Brazil can do with those ultimates.
Yes, a little respect, I feel, was certainly earned there by Brazil. A little moment of sheer panic by Sweden. If it was only a little closer, the fact that it was in that door when they had to cross the bridge, it gave them that spawn time, that extra couple of seconds required to get out and obviously use those ultis. Solive gets himself a little peek around the side, but the problem is now for Brazil, they're down to a minute. They've just used their big wombo combos. They don't have any Graviton Surge. They're going to use the sound barrier. They're going to try and push in, but the walls across the bridge, both home and away walls going either side.
Got to be a Dragon Blade now for Solo. He needs to stop this, but no, he's going to get caught in there. Not great timing at all. He tries to go for the Dragon Blade, but yet another Blizzard is available to Vic, and that on itself, or on its own, should I say, has been what's stopping Brazil from getting over the line here. They used a sound barrier there, and credit to Edu, that was well timed. It actually allowed Keo to stay alive to get the kill against Coco, but all they've got is the Dragon Blade that was refunded to Solive, and they've got the Earth Shatter. That is it, and there's 10 seconds remaining.
They've got to go. There's going to be a wall from Tavik to block them coming in the front door. You got to feel that's just going to slap up in the faces. There we go, separates them. Graviton Surge is ready and waiting. Solive tries to come in, but they instantly turn and deal with him. A Blizzard goes down though from Brazil. Is it going to be enough? No, Chips High manages to chime in with a kill on Solive. That's the Dragon Blade dealt with, and now the hammer is let loose from Coco as he swings away for the fences, and it looks like it will be Sweden that will hold on strong against Brazil on Temple of Anubis.
Brilliant stuff there. Sweden managed to respond. Yes, they let Brazil get a foot in the door, but not quite all of the way. They will prevent Brazil from finishing the map. And that means that all Sweden needs to do themselves is to finish.
Definitely some different body language from Sweden there. Not quite the happy, jovial, smiley. They realized they caught a little bit of a break there. They were a little overconfident, as you said, and they got caught in a pretty mean wombo combo from Brazil. And, you know, you got to look towards the probably later end of this tournament, this exhibition, Overwatch World Cup, and you've got to be thinking other teams maybe would have paid the price there. They would have definitely caught them out. But then again, would they also be respecting their opponents a little more?
Again, I really do feel that Blizzard in those situations is an absolute get-out-of-jail-free card. They, to be fair, Sweden probably should have lost there. That should have been where the capture occurred. But I've got to say, despite that, despite the Blizzard being incredibly strong in that regard, Zebasai has played an incredible series. This guy started his career off with Misfits, or they were actually at the time ironically known as Graviton Surge, as their McCree player. Then he switched towards Lucio, and that's sort of what he does more in the side of Misfits now. But his Xayah is so good. He has had 66% average energy on that Xayah. You are hitting very, very hard, but even more than that, top damage on his team. That's more than Tvix May. That's more than IDDQD's Reaper even. Incredible stuff from Zebasai, really. 25 for 2 he currently stands in eliminations. And a lot of those kills have been occurring over on that point where the fighting's been getting a bit messy. Great stuff from him. Really want to highlight him here because oftentimes the Xayah players don't always get the recognition they deserve.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen these positions before, haven't we? Next stage, choose to not stick up the top there, actually. Deciding to go a little bit more aggressive. But look at this. Solive's going to be on the McCree this time around. We've seen that in scrims, but IDDQD is still sitting on the Widowmaker. Is he going to stick to it? Is he going to go looking for those frags? It looks like he will. And Tavik on Genji.
That's really interesting from IDDQD. I don't really recall seeing much of Widow from him ever. But I guess if Vic wants to play Genji and actually work towards a Dragon Blade, there's no point in him playing Widow to start things off. So a bit of damage there from IDDQD here. Keo needs to keep that shield up front and center now and make sure he protects his team. Otherwise, that's going to happen. IDDQD picks his sanities out of the mix, and that's possibly the worst case scenario you could ever fear for Brazil. And their Solive going to fall as well. IDDQD may fall, but the damage has surely already been done.
The damage is done. When you pick off the Ana in the first shot, that's just about the worst you could hope for. Talking about Zebasai, he picks himself up a quick triple there, so nets himself the point in the bag as well. Sweden going to have a bag of time. 7 minutes and 18 seconds to charge on through and try and flip this in quick fashion and win out the game.
And now they're going to push quickly as well. Try and catch Brazil before they can really find their footing on this point. Neither team really has big ultimates to work with, and curiously, IDDQD is going to stay on this Widowmaker. Hasn't really felt overly threatened. If he can pick up Solive first, he doesn't have to worry about anyone really taking him out at range. But already you can see that Coco's jump straight on. Zebasai gets onto a Solive, and that's a great pick off to start this fight. Tvik now going to come in and Genji, and look at this. This is perfect. Dragon Blade available for him. There's not going to really be anyone left to kill, though, Lee.
He's looking for a target. You can see him looking around. It's like, where is everyone? I can't get anyone. It doesn't matter. Sweden are going to do it, it seems. They're going to try and throw the Diva on the site. They're going to try and contest, but they can't get close enough. It is all over, and Sweden will take it in a quick 2 maps.
Impressive performance from there as well. You can see Coco looking a little bit more pleased with himself now after that performance, and that means Everside, incredible series from him, really. Sweden have said, over this last few days of scrimming, we have actually found some challenges in interpersonal relationships amongst the team, and also just responding from losing maps and stuff like that. They've recovered really, really well. This is a great way to see. First time on a stage, and they look dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can hear play of the game going on. It is going to be a Graviton surge, but all you see is Team Sweden, and they are the victors. And, of course, they are going to join, I believe it was Spain, at the top of their group. Spain played at the top of the day if you missed it. But, guys, thank you very much. Let's get over to the desk to take us through that quick game.
Thank you so much, D-Man. Guys, what a match. That might have been our fastest one of the day. What do you think, Monty?
Oh, it wasn't because Brazil took a point, so
oh, you're
it was
right,
actually less fast.
Less fast than Australia, right?
I was going to say, like, it was almost as one-sided as Korea versus Australia, but Sweden, I think, loses out big time on style points. They won by a lot, but they didn't quite have the flair that Korea did.
That's right.
Where was the Symmetra, man? Where was the Torbjorn?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't want to be BM, I guess.
They had the Junkrat.
They had
Junkrat,
yes.
That's not so troll, though. You see Junkrat a lot on defense.
Actually, and you do see Tuvik play Junkrat on defense, first point on Anubis. We've actually seen that very recently.
That's not so weird.
No, they're way too Swedish to play Torbjorn.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
they thought there were enough Swedes on the stage already, so they decided to be more diverse.
Yes, it would be 8.
It would be unfair if it was 7 Swedes against
the turret is a person too now?
No, just Torbjorn and the, well, I guess it's kind of like 2 in 1. Anyway,
hey, are robots people in this? Maybe turrets are people too.
Hey, well, I'm Nick Wrights, man.
I think
turret rights.
I like how we thought. I thought the turret before I realized that he was the Swede he was referring to.
It's all right.
Thank you, Rachel.
Sometimes I think a turret is more of a person than reinforced too. So
it's been a long day for you, hasn't it? It's been a tough one.
I know I'm bad at Reinhardt, but come on, guys.
You'll get a chance to go and sleep soon.
Yes.
Well, let's derail this completely,
Speaking
guys.
of sleep, Noah.
I know. Oh, good segue.
Oh my
that was
God.
perfect. So, yeah, speaking of sleep darts, Chips Iron had an epic sleep dart in Temple of Anubis Point V. Let's call up that replay really quick and take a look at it. Looks like we've got that almost ready to go. There we go, paused. And so watch the left side of your screen as we go ahead and play this right now. Chips Iron ready to go, and he is so prepared for this game. Look at that. What? Twitch sleep dart, and the push is over. That is beautiful. And, of course, then we're going to watch the rest of the team clean up Team Brazil. But, man, that is just the kind of play that makes Chips Hine such a great Ana player. We've seen him do that all the time, but that was one of the more impressive ones.
Yeah, especially the follow-up, too, and the call for the focus fire to Vic coming in as well with the Mei. I mean, everything was perfectly set up, and just a very simple shutdown.
Yeah, but I'm personally disappointed Coco didn't charge the Genji.
Is that right?
That's the thing. When you see someone nano boosted, you
could have done a better
charge
job
them
here.
immediately, right?
Yes.
That's
We've seen this in the OG and Apex. There's some guy out there who's...
Hey, he hits a lot of them, I've heard.
Someone who's less than a turret who will do that.
Well, going back to Dorado here, we have some plays as well. And really, this was just a showcase of Sweden's skill.
It was.
Yeah, it was, yes.
We knew it was there.
Sweden is very good. Good analysis. No bias.
A solid analysis, John.
I just felt like Brazil didn't really change things up enough here. We see Sweden playing a Mei Reaper composition, and, well, Brazil just keep walking up a choke point, and it's not going to end well for them.
I mean, they tried to just sort of bum rush their way through the middle, and then they just tried to bum rush their way through the left side.
On top.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed very predictable. You know what Brazil was trying to do. There didn't seem to be a lot of real thought put into it. It's like, all right, let's group up and go in and hope for the best.
I think they just didn't play well around the enemy composition. When they were coming up for the flank, you could see there was thought going into it. They wanted to set up for the big Graviton surge into Hanzo Dragon Arrow combo, but unfortunately it was the execution that wasn't there. It was the execution that wasn't there.
Speaking of execution that's not there, this was a bit of a dark moment for Team Sweden, if I'm right. You know, you got to still respect the ultimates. Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of a different fight.
Yeah,
there was one in that same place. We'll probably see it.
You
might
just
see it.
Watch IDQ execute people instead.
There we go. That's a play of the game. Sweden did group up a little bit there, and then they took a whole hog wholly into the team.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a point.
They'd successfully pushed through there like 3 times, so I guess they had no reason on the 4th time to suspect that was not going to go well.
Oh, goodness. The pain. Wow. Yeah, so live. Graham will play the game there, but the game itself went over to
Coco. What are you doing?
Sweden. He's just nano boosted, man.
There you go. There's your aggressive charging.
Oh, what are you doing, Roadhog? Whoa. All right.
And
this was scary.
All right, this is the second time where we do have to question Sweden a little bit.
Yeah.
Both in the side room on point A and right on the bridge. They were choosing, with a lot of knowledge about which ultimates were up, I presume, to cluster up in tight areas and set up. Now, Soul Live took great advantage of that, and the casters talked about the Deaths doing a huge amount of his team's damage and really looking like a bright point because it was his plays a couple of those times that proved really dangerous to Sweden, but also positional errors by Sweden to really even be there in the first place.
Yeah. There was a bit of laziness towards the end.
There was a bit of laziness, yes.
They were much better than Brazil, but it could have maybe been finished out just a little bit cleaner.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for your analysis. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up the day.
The Overwatch World Cup is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
Another round?
Welcome to BlizzCon!
This is one of the coolest things you're ever going to see in your life.
We cannot wait to share with you guys what we have in store.
Welcome to BlizzCon, boys.
For Azeroth! We're exploring a lot of new locations. We invented some brand new characters.
The world could always use more heroes.
We retake our homeworld.
When we first did BlizzCon back in 2005, we had no idea what to expect.
Are we ready to begin the costume contest?
It is amazing to feel part of this thing.
How'd you guys feel about today? You excited?
It's so much more than a game in a box.
We have so much to show you here today.
It's just all fun and games.
Have fun this weekend. Take care of each other.
Have a great BlizzCon!
See the full animated short at playoverwatch.com.
The Overwatch World Cup is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch World Cup. We're having an awesome time here at our first day. We've got 3 more days opening week and then 2 days of BlizzCon. It's going to get wild. But before we wrap things up today, we have a quick interview with Sweden's Zebosai and Jason over in the corner.
Thank you for that Thank you for that, Rachel. So we should start off talking about one thing and one thing in particular, because yes, that win was very convincing. You're normally a Lucio player for Misfits, and you're playing Zarya, and you played really well. Can you kind of walk us through how it feels to transition from the Lucio to the Zarya?
During the whole beta phase, I played a DPS role, so I think I'm mechanically good enough to do it. So it's just a lot more fun than playing Lucio, obviously.
Yeah, and just to give you guys an idea, you had, was it 2,000 more damage than Tvik did on Temple of Anubis? Pretty insane, pretty insane.
I think it's more than
Just
that.
do what you do. Just do what you do. Yeah, so let's look at the entire tournament that we have, the entire festival we have. Excuse me. So who's the team you're looking to beat? Who's the team you're looking to face off?
Korea is the toughest opponent for sure, but then Finland is also up there. We practiced against Taiwan, and they were also pretty good. So those are the 4 teams, I guess, including us, that are the teams to beat here.
Well, speaking of Korea, you guys have a few players in your team that have played against the Korean teams. Are they giving you guys some insight on how to play against them and what to expect?
Yeah, Tvik has a lot of insight, and he obviously beat the best Korean team. So like we have that going for us, and when we practice them, it's kind of even, and we took 1 map, so let's see if we can take more in the tournament.
How's like the team mentality coming into this? Like when you guys sat down, we actually heard quite a few results where you guys were losing against some teams. How's it kind of changed since then?
I don't think we have lost any team apart from Korea, but like the team atmosphere is great. I love playing with Swedish comms, and like just talking outside of the game, it's a lot more fun that way.
And I want to talk about something, because this is probably something that a lot of people can relate to who want to be professional players and to represent their region and such. Your family. Kind of tell me about how it's been for you becoming, well, before a professional player to finally be in that kind of role.
Yeah, so when I was in school, like maybe 16, 17 years old, I wanted to quit to go full-time StarCraft. My parents wouldn't let me do that, so I kept playing TF2 more casually. And then obviously when this game got released, I just jumped on it, and now I've quit my job and I just play full-time.
And can you say you're pretty much living the dream for this one? Because you guys won the Overwatch Open AE League, so it's got to feel really good.
Yeah, obviously, like I'm loving it so far.
Okay, what about like friends in high school? Anyone kind of watching you and messaging you like, hey, didn't we go to the same school together? What's up? Can you teach me some Overwatch?
Actually, like after I played my first tournament at TakeOver, some people started messaging me that I haven't talked to in years. So
It might have been me in there trying to say, hey, can I get carried in some ranked games? But let's kind of look at one more aspect of this. How does it kind of feel to be here to represent Sweden?
No, it's great. Like I love Sweden as a country, and like we want to take the victory home. So.
Do you feel any pressure, because Sweden has really shown us in a lot of other games in esports they put out the best?
Yeah, for sure. Like nothing else than a victory here is. I don't know. I won't be satisfied with anything else than winning.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and good luck in your match tomorrow. For now, guys, let's head back to the desk.